Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Olivia Valadez, your Midwest girl. We are gonna get right into when I lived in Alaska part 2. So there's a few topics I want to go over. There's so many. I could probably do a part 3. I don't think I'm gonna do a part 3. Oh, I ended up being in my car because there's construction going on around where I live and it's so loud and it's just not worth it to have that in the background, and I don't know how to edit it out. Please. So first I want to talk about the people of Alaska. Okay, the people of Alaska are just so resilient. I was blown away when I got there. I was like, everybody's so active all the time. There is much less obesity, at least it was on Kodiak Island. Keep in mind, what I am talking about and discussing, it's only to Kodiak Island. I did not live on the mainland. I did not live up north. The people who live up north, y'all are truly so different, so resilient. I can't imagine the exhaustion from living up there. Winter is so incredibly long. Winter was bad and long when I lived on Kodiak Island, and it didn't even snow a ton. Maybe it snowed like 2 feet sometimes, maybe 3. But it's the fact that it would rain and then it would freeze. So ice, it would ice up really bad. And I didn't like that. But regardless, if people can be active, they are active. One time we were hiking one of the mountains, Old Woman. It's called Old Woman because they say an old woman could hike it. Guys, this is still you're still climbing a mountain, okay? Not a giant one, but you're still climbing a mountain. And as we're climbing up, we see this woman. She has like a baby strapped to her and the dad's there, and we start talking to her and she's like, oh yeah, this is, you know, whatever her baby's name is. And she's like, he's like 7 days old or something crazy. I'm like, these people are just rugged. It's wild. It was so crazy. All these girls love hiking so much. I don't know why. It's pretty, but oh my gosh, I don't even know if it's worth it. They are resourceful. Work is never done. If it's gonna be especially dry, if it's gonna be dry at all, because it rains so often there, they are working on the weekends outside anytime they can on their houses. They're gonna do activities they can do. I feel like leisure and relaxation is just not it there. Even if there's time off, people are at the beach. People are at the ocean. They're fishing. And Mare was just trying to grab her line that got stuck, and she freaking like fell in basically. Oh, we're done now? I thought you wanted to stay out for like 2 more hours. They're hiking, they're biking, anything. I ran a ton in Kodiak. That was one of my biggest coping skills. I definitely probably experienced, I don't know, I of course never got it diagnosed, but I feel that I experienced a good amount of depression while I was there. So to help better cope, I would go on a lot of runs. Sometimes I would run up Pillar Mountain. Pillar Mountain's the only mountain there that you can actually drive up. And I would run alongside the road. And I did that because if something happened to me, I wanted people to be able to drive by and see like, oh, this woman's hurt or she needs help. Wow, there's a lot of people pulling in this parking lot today. I wanted to sit in this abandoned parking lot to film. Abandoned. This sounds like I'm like on the outskirts of town. I'm absolutely not, okay? I'm in the middle of Wichita, and people just keep pulling in here, and I'm like, there was no one in here when I got in here. That's why I picked it regardless. So I will insert some videos. In those videos, a lot of times it's raining. I would run in the rain, I would run in everything, and honestly I'm lucky I didn't twist and break my freaking ankle, because I did not have good traction on my shoes. Keep in mind, I did not have the money to buy new shoes like that. I really didn't. And then also, even if I did have the money to maybe purchase the shoe, now somebody else is pulling in. Who is this guy? And why is he pulling in right next to me? Hang on just a second. Hold on just a second. And we're back. Okay, I had to change parking lots. That was just, they're gonna do some work. Anyways, So it was not a cheap thing to get any products shipped to Alaska at the time. And even on top of that, I didn't have the money to buy new Nike shoes like anyway. So I would tape up my ankles really tight to keep from rolling them, but that's like all I basically did to try to prevent injury. That was very helpful. So when I wasn't being social with Olivia or out with everybody, I would be on a lot of runs. I got to be able to run, I got up to like running about 3 miles a day. And it would just depend on how good I felt, how treacherous the weather was. Sometimes if it was really bad though, I would have it in me to be like, if it's the worst, ugliest, most awful day, the wind's blowing, it's freezing, I'd be like, I'm gonna go on a run. Like, I'm gonna go on a run in this nastiness and this craziness. So that's what I was about. Okay, the mother of all mountains, or the father rather of all mountains on Kodiak Island that people hike, is called Barometer. Barometer is freaking huge. I'm gonna move again. I want you guys to know this is a struggle today. Oh my God. Some days you just can't win. I don't know why this is such a thing today, but it's a thing. So, okay, Barometer. I remember seeing it, and just for bragging rights, I was like, I want to hike Barometer someday. I remember telling one of the girls, Jordan was amazing. She was so good about if somebody wanted to hike and they maybe weren't as comfortable, or they were like me and they were scared of heights, or they were newer to it. And there's a different kind of in shape that you have to be to hike a mountain. It's very tiring. I'll insert some clips. So hiking Barometer is one of the biggest accomplishments, I would say. Wow. This is the last haul, and I do not like heights. And I'm just trying to like get this done. Right here on the top of Barometer. I wanted to reach that goal. I wanted to be able to say that I did that. Also, when you're scared of heights, hiking a mountain, it's not going up that is the scary part. When I would hike, I'd be fine, but as I'm climbing, I'm thinking, I have to come down. And for whatever reason, that messes with me so bad. If you also are scared of heights, comment below that if you have trouble coming more down from heights versus going up. That's how I was. Also, to physically have to get myself up or down is different than like if I were to ride a roller coaster, or if I even were to like skydive. You don't have to do anything to go up or come down, basically. You just sit there or hang there, whatever. Versus when you're climbing a mountain, you're doing all the work. So for me, I sweat on like a dime, so I'm sweaty. It's colder as you get higher up due to the altitude, of course. And then I'm getting more and more scared. And as all I'm doing as I'm hiking a mountain, I'm just anticipating like, I have to get down from here. So I wish I knew the timeline of when I hiked. We hiked Barometer in May of 2017. So we didn't talk about it. I just wake up one day, it had to be a Saturday or Sunday, and Jordan wakes up and comes into the kitchen. She's like, hey, she's like, you want to climb Barometer today? And I was like, today? Like now? As in the next 24 hours? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, I guess. And she's like, well, you said you wanted to do it. Do you not want to do it anymore? And I'm like, no, I do want to do it. And I specifically wanted to do it with her because I knew she'd let me take my time. She wouldn't make me feel pressured to like be fast or whatever. It's a thing. It was a thing, at least at the mission. When we would go in groups hiking a mountain, it was like the people at the front led the pace, and they would hustle. Listen, climbing a mountain is a challenge in itself, in my personal Kansas opinion, okay? So hustling up the mountain wasn't really on my list of what I thought was gonna happen when I did. So some people would wanna go so fast up a mountain, and I was like, I'm just like lucky to be here. I don't need you to time me. This is not it. I don't do mountains. The only reason I'm doing a mountain is because this is the only action. I want to be in the water, okay? That's where I want to be. If I'm where I want to be in the water. But the water at best is probably, I don't know, 40 degrees. Even when it's the hottest, it doesn't get above 60 ever there, usually. If it's above 60, it's a very rare day, and it's only that particular day. It's usually in the 40s, 50s if you're lucky, throughout the summer. So that's why I'm on the side of a mountain hiking. Anyways, so we ended up doing it. It was such an incredible experience. It was one of those things in my life that I really didn't know if I could do it. And so I was very pleased with myself when I made it to the top, when I made it to the summit. And I was so grateful. There was still snow at the top. You'll see in the video when I insert it. And I was just so thankful for Jordan and her patience. And then she let me take my time going down. There were times when we were coming down where I would sit on my bottom and scoot. That's how scared I was, part of it. And then Pyramid was another very steep mountain. We are almost to the top of Pyramid. Woo, it's an awesome day. It was mainly at the top because it looks like a pyramid at the top. That's the name. And then I hiked 2 of the 3 sisters. There were the 3 sisters, and there was like three mountains together. And I don't know which ones I hiked, honestly. I think I hiked 2 of them. So it was a time, I tell you. It was a time. Okay, the Navy SEALs. So the Navy SEALs, I don't know when they were there. Whenever I had my Nissan Murano, I'll put my Nissan Murano in here. I totaled it when I was in Alaska. My parents helped me, as in paid for it, got me a car when I was in Alaska. The car situation's a whole lore. It's just always a lore, okay? I don't know what to tell you guys. So at the mission, they had shared vehicles. Let me tell you, okay, there was 2 minivans. One was white, one was silver, and then there was the hot car. I'll tell you what the hot car was. Let me look it up. Hang on. Okay, the hot car was the maroon Ford Freestyle. I don't think I have a photo of it, but I will insert it here, okay? Here's how you got to know if you had a car. For the day, for the time. Also, we did not write down when we're coming back, how long we're gonna be gone, nothing. So between the people who were from the lower 48, who were up there working on the mission, you would go to the office, and at the bottom there was like a closet, and in the closet there was keys hanging, and if there was a key there, then you could take one of the cars, and if there wasn't, then you were SOL. Okay, so that's what you do. You'd have to walk across campus, go inside the like front foyer area of the office. This all sounds like it's really nice. It's not. Again, everything is jank as hell in Alaska. So you go in this musty closet, you check the hooks. If there's a key there, you can be on your merrily way. Now, mind you, when you got into the minivans, either one, they were donated. They were repulsive. Sometimes there would be a scent. The steering wheel might have like stickiness on it. You just knew they were not clean. The carpets were stained. I think one had cloth seats and one had leather seats. The leather seats were fine. The cloth seats had stains on them. Like, you just didn't even want to know what would happen. And to be honest, and this is like an ego check right here, I wouldn't have been caught dead in one of these cars before I moved there, okay? Like, and really because of the cleanliness of it, not even because they were older or anything like that, it was just disgusting. And they sounded like they could fall apart at any minute, and they really could. And we did not care. We drove those bad boys all over that island. And like I said, you'd go, and sometimes there weren't any keys there. You didn't know when people were coming back. Actually, I will say I left the most. I took the keys the most. And honestly, I found a way. This is so bad. I found a way that when the keys were gone, I found a backup key in the closet of one of the full size, or like one of those Chevy boxy looking vans, okay? And I would take that van. It was not for us to drive around and, you know, I'm gonna film this video no matter what happens. If a piano falls on my head, then I guess I'll stop. But I'm gonna keep filming this video no matter what. Okay, so I would go and I would take one of the full-size vans, which were actually supposed to be for field trips with the kids. If there was no regular car there. And they didn't catch on for a while, but all the cars did have a card in the glove compartment, and then we'd swipe it at the gas station and fill it up if it needed to be filled up. Dang, I don't think I'm looking in the right place. Just bear with me here, okay, you guys? So anyways, I would take that, and we called it the poop van because it was the ugliest brown you've ever seen. And the interior was falling down from the ceiling. Like, this was so good for me at the time, because I think I just, you know, you're just spoiled growing up in America. You're spoiled growing up in the Midwest because we have a bunch of space. We have energy for things, you know, and I just had to really use my extra energy all the time to just function there. Like, we didn't have Wi-Fi when I arrived, and I was like, where's the Wi-Fi? And the girls were like, oh, we don't have Wi-Fi, or we use it, but it's from the office, so it goes in and out, because the office is on one side of the campus, right? Like, and then across the driveway, which is a big driveway, it's like a parking lot of gravel. Again, sounds nice, it's not nice. And then where our house was, they would try to tap into the Wi-Fi, and it would go in and out. Oh, and if it was cloudy, it really interrupted the reception. And I remember being like, yeah, we're not doing this. And they're like, Wi-Fi is really expensive. I said, how much is Wi-Fi here? This is like one of the first few days I was there. I was on one already. And I said, and they're like, it's $80 a month. And I was like, that's a little steep, but like, you know, we need it. And they're like, you're gonna pay $80 a month for Wi-Fi? And I said, no, I'm gonna pay $80 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 of you. I said, because all of you guys are going to want a cut of this as soon as I get this hooked up. And lo and behold, they absolutely did. So by, I think, the end of the first month, 3 other people had asked to get in and split the plan with me. So I was like, we need Wi-Fi, you guys. I said, how are you functioning? I don't know how people were functioning. Like, I got there and I'm like, Rosie, you had to finish college courses. You had to get online and get your driver's license for Alaska. You had to do things with the internet. How were you functioning? She's like, well, if I really needed good service, I'd walk to the office. I said, every single time? That's crazy. Imagine every time that you needed Wi-Fi, you would walk across this campus. What is this life? So, okay, the Navy SEALs. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. So we would go out sometimes, okay? And I would, because of the car situation, oh yeah, I totaled my Murano because I drove over the biggest pothole. It cracked my undercarriage and cracked my transmission. And that's how I totaled my Nissan Murano. I bet I had it like 3 months. I was so sad because I did have it for a while. And I didn't want to have to go back to the closet and drive the janky minivans around that said Kodiak Baptist Mission on the side of them. I'm not making this up. You would swear I'm making this up. Okay. So the Navy SEALs would only be there a little bit of time. Maybe every few months or something like that. I can look up how often they came. But when they would come, there would be instructors or sergeants. I don't know the proper terminology, I apologize. And then there would be what we called the SEAL pups, and those were the trainees. So they could all go out, and one day me and Olivia, we go to this bar. There's a bar on Kodiak Island that only allows people who have a military ID in. And they can take a civilian with them, but you have to be accompanied by somebody with a military ID to get in this bar. I can't find the bar. Whatever, I'll insert it if I find it. This video is a freaking mess. Okay, so I was there with Olivia, and she's like, do you see those guys over there? And I'm like, yeah. Now, mind you, Olivia was Coast Guard retired. I'm like, yeah, I see those guys over there. She's like, those are Navy SEALs. I said, how do you know? And she goes, I just know. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's cool. And so then we ended up talking to some of them. Now, keep in mind, I wish I could give you guys more details, but they are very private. They would not take photos with us. Like, we went out with them all. I think either the next day or something like that, we all went to, I think everywhere, Bernie's and Tony's, and we ended up at the Mecca. The Mecca was the bar that was open the latest. The Mecca was a mess, okay? And they were all there one night, and I remember somebody started stuff with them, and it got really rowdy really quick. And the thing is too, is of course they flock together everywhere, and it's not just like military people. This is a whole separate level. Maybe Marines would understand, Green Berets, Delta Force, they would understand the camaraderie that comes between between these men. And so I remember one of them sat next to me at the bar, and we just talked for like ever. I had so many questions for him, and he just couldn't believe how young I was still. And he's like, I'm like, how old are you? I think he was like 28 or something like that. So he was really young too. And I'll never forget what he told me, because at the time I was kind of like talking to somebody who was no good for me on Kodiak Island. It didn't last long, but he was like, you know, just keep in mind, like, wherever you are in life, wherever you are, even if you don't think you can do anything or that there's nothing you can do to change your situation. He said, I think he said he tried out for the Navy SEALs, I think in his 20s, which almost nobody does that because they want the youngest. And of course your body can handle more when you're younger and you're not injured yet and everything. And I think he was like 23 or 24, which is incredible. And he said, you can take wherever you are. And he took his hands kind of like this. He said, you can take wherever you are and you can flip it. Like, you can change it. And I remember that so vividly. And it was just like, you're so right. Like, I'm in this, I left my home state. I moved to Alaska. I'm consumed all the time with thinking about how I need to get to Florida and I want to be by the beach and I want to be somewhere warmer. And now I'm in this situation I need to get out of with this guy. Like I said, it didn't last long. And like, I can change all of this. And then the guys are like, hey, you know, we'll call him Mike. It's not Mike, just so we're clear. They're very, very strict about protecting their identities. At least they were around us, and so we want to be respectful of that. And they're like, hey, we're gonna go. And he was like, can you take me back if I stay? And I'm like, yeah, I can take you back. And he's like, it's like pretty private though. I'm like, yeah. So we stay, and I think Bernie's closed like freaking 5 a.m. or something crazy. We stayed and just talked. So like 5 a.m, I did have my Murano at this time. And so I take him back, and to get to the gate of where the Navy SEALs base is on Kodiak Island, you have to go into what looks like a traditional residential neighborhood. You have to wind all these different ways. I don't even think I could get to it now, and go to this very back part of this suburb. And there is this chain link gate with razor wire wrapped around it. There's nothing but trees on either side, like as far as you can see in. There's no visual of buildings. There's nothing. As all you can see is the edge of the cliff, the ocean over the edge, and then there's a keypad. And he tells me to stop my car. He's like, stop right here. And I'm like, okay. And then we keep talking for a while, probably 5, 4, it had to be earlier than that because they had training and he was an instructor. That's how he was able to be out later. The SEAL pups have to leave anywhere at like 12 or 12:30. We called it Cinderella hour because you would just see like around midnight or 12:30, this group of SEALs would like leave and go get the Chevys and leave. And I was like, why are they leaving? And Olivia's like, oh, that's because they're in training and they can't stay out all night. Instructors can do whatever they want. So we talked for a while and then he's like, hey, stay right here. He's like, do not get out of this car. And I was like, okay. I'm like, what's going on? And he gets out of the car and he walks up to the keypad and he types in something, the code obviously, and then the gate slowly starts to open. And he gets back in my car and he looks at me and he goes, when I tell you you are not supposed to be here, I am so serious. He's like, once you drop me off, I want you to turn your car around. I want you to take the exact same pathway that we took in, out. Do not turn anywhere extra. Do not get out your phone. Do not take pictures. Do not do anything but leave. And I was like, what about the gate? And he's like, when you pull up to the gate, it will automatically open and let you out. He goes, you get out, I want you to stop and watch the gate close behind your car. Because when I tell you, you could be in so much trouble and I could be even in more trouble for letting you onto this property without permission, basically. He's like, I'm so serious. And so, mind you, I am exhausted, guys. I wanted to go to bed probably 6 hours ago, but you ever just having a really good conversation or like just such a good night and you're like, I am not going to let my tiredness get to me. So I drive him on. He still had me drop him off like in the middle of the road. Like he didn't have me pull up to a parking spot or a building really that I remember. Again, I was exhausted. I was like delusional at this point because I was so tired. And I did exactly what he said and I left. And within, I think like a week, they were gone. And it was just like this facade, like this thing where you're like, did that really happen? Like, are they real? Like, it was really cool. So that was a cool experience. So there's that. Also, they don't dance. Navy SEALs don't dance. I could not get like any of them to dance. Olivia and I love to dance. They were not about it. The SEALs do not care about having rhythm. So maybe one of them did, but and they're all different personalities too. It was so unexpected. I decided to leave Alaska. One, I knew I wasn't going to be there long when I got there. I knew I was only going to be there like a year. And I really wanted the experience, but I wanted to do other things, obviously. And I was so glad to have the opportunity. I wish in hindsight I would have slowed down more. Like a lot. And I wish I could tell myself, like, this is part of your life. Like, I just kept thinking, like, this isn't the plan. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't the plan. And I try really hard to stick with my goals and my plans because I can't tell you how many people say, like, this is not where I wanted to end up. This is not where I thought I would be. I had this opportunity or that opportunity and I didn't take it. Or I ended up having a child really young or getting married really young or in a controlling relationship. And I just did not want to be that person so bad. But that drive is what gave me the discipline to be able to do and have all these experiences that I have had. But that also hindered me, where I just was like, if I wasn't exactly on track, I just was so like stressed about it at the time. And I wish I could tell myself, like, enjoy the ride, like enjoy the ride. And it was such a mixture. I know the way I feel about Alaska now versus how I felt about it when I left is two totally different things. I was depressed. I was exhausted when I left. I was run down. If one more kid peed in their snowsuit in the wintertime, I remember thinking, I'm gonna come unglued, because it was just like, oh my gosh, I graduated college and this is what I'm dealing with. And I think I just felt like this wasn't it. So, and now I'm like, that was it. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And enjoy it. Have so much fun. You will wish you could live it again. If I had the chance to go back again for 11 months, like I was there for 11 months, I would do it in a heartbeat. And it is really hard. It's very sad sometimes. Like it's just like new, it's desolate. And also where I was at, none of us had families. None of us were in really serious relationships except for one. And it felt very lonely. I always say I would not return to Alaska, like living wise. I would not live there again unless I had like a husband and kids and a whole unit, because it's not for the faint of heart. It was very much, it put me in my place. I used to always have to be in the mix. I used to always want to be around like a bunch of people, or just at least with Lindsay, and have something to do all the time. And it made me be still. It made me calm down. And I'm grateful for that. It helped me grow up and become more mature and realize sometimes you got to do the really unfun stuff. And then sometimes there's nothing fun that's going to come for a while. You just have to become more disciplined and change your perspective of things. Appreciate the little things and make that be enough. So, and I totally romanticize Alaska now. I ask Rosie about it still. I've asked her if she would let me put up pictures. She hasn't responded yet. I need to bother her again about it. Videos and pictures of us. I'll do just like a photo dump, a whole video of just pictures and videos and stuff of Alaska when I was there, a separate one as well. But it was just such an incredible experience. I mean, one day I'm watching the kids when we're outside for lunch, because we let them eat and play as they wanted to. It was very free. It was very open when it came to teaching. I loved that part of it. It wasn't this strict, like, this is what we're doing and this is for how many minutes. Like, if the lesson was going really good and the kids were engaged and interested, we could extend it. If they were unengaged, we'd stop it. I mean, they were like 3 and 4 years old. They were really young. And one day a kid leaves his lunch on the table to go play for a while, and a bald eagle comes down, swoops down, and grabs this kid's sandwich and takes off. They are vicious. I can understand why they are America's animal. And the kid came back and I'm like, hey, Mike Colin, kiddo, an eagle took your sandwich, buddy. Because he's like, where's my sandwich? I was like, yeah, about that. And then he starts crying. I'm like cracking up. I told his dad when he got picked up that the eagle took a sandwich, and we gave him another one. He didn't want it. He wanted the original one. Like, there was just crazy stuff happening like that all the time. And it was just such a cool experience. So if I knew you when you were in Alaska, if you were part of that journey, thank you so much for everything. Shout out to Antonio. He's the guy I dated, and he worked on the Seabrook, and I won't disclose where he is now, which vessel he's on, but one of the toughest people I've ever met. I wish nothing but good things for you. And yeah, it was just such an incredible experience. I miss it so much, but I also know it was very difficult on my mental state too. And it was on the other girls that I lived with as well. So when everybody's kind of struggling mentally, it creates just some sadness in a household, and we'd have to kind of pull ourselves out of that. But that's when we'd be like, okay, let's go do something active. Let's go kayaking. Let's go hiking. I saw whales too, so I'll put that in if I can.
Whale to the wall.
Can you see? I had much better video and pictures of whales than I did bears. Because I saw the bear. I don't know if I saw one or two. And he wasn't that old. He was like a teenager bear. So he wasn't giant. I never saw a giant bear there. But they're big papas. So, okay guys, that's gonna do it for part 2 of Alaska. I'll probably put more text on the screen if I want to add anything or say anything else. So that's where we're at.